because it's not yet Uhuru. These positions that we are all fighting for, many we have had councillors, we have had MPs. We diagnosed the problem of this country. It is that we have to overhaul the entire dictatorship. That is where, even when you're a councillor, you will benefit from that position. So we are fighting day and night, talking to our colleagues, and at least I can tell you that from our assessment, over now, 70–80% of the people who lost the tickets have already come into the fold, and they are going to move forward because there's no time of procrastinating about the destiny
Alex,
of liberating the country.
Let me just cut you in there. I just want to find out, in terms of the petitions, what are the timelines and how will you be proceeding as we head into the next cycle of the release of results? Just take me through what the petitions look like and the stipulated time for that.
The stipulated time of return was deadline yesterday, and by close of 5 p.m. yesterday, we had closed all businesses of receiving petitions. However, the hearing also started on Saturday. As the petitions came in, we have moved over 60%. The Secretariat has moved over 60% in getting to understand the ingredients of those petitions. There are those that have already been handled, but then the final results of the local government members of the National Unity Platform will be released this evening. I also want to appreciate something that we must appreciate. When 10 years ago, it was difficult for a party in the opposition to have stampede over a card. We always, people who are available are the ones who are given cards. Incumbents who are always unopposed in different political parties because there was a shortage of en masse members of Uganda being part of the process of liberating the country. Today, in the National Unity Platform, whether you want to go to Karamoja, whether you want to visit Zombo, whether you want to go to West Nile Arua, whether you want to come to Hoima, whether you are running to Ibanda Mbarara, whether you are running to Busoga Luuka, among others, you're going to find that all the positions, inclusive of councillor, are that competitive. And that is what we should be appreciative of, that we have moved. The revolution is moving. Ugandans are getting more adaptable to the challenges of this country, and they're being more involved in seeing that we are liberated as a people.
You're speaking about those that are part of the revolution, and yet as we speak about 60+ of those have moved to the PFF. Where does this leave your party? Even after we're talking about just the grassroots, 60 have moved. By the time you mention about the MPs and those that will lose the party ticket, don't you think that number is expected to rise? Or what are you doing to curtail that from happening?
We had a return of tens of thousands of applications. Tens of thousands. So if you're talking about 60, it cannot even be drawn to a percentage. However, we are yet to put name to the 60. We have had the number, but we don't know the people. Let them come out and we are aware of the people. But then these are disgruntled people. We are asking them, let them, unless they were in NUP for positions, and yet in National Unity Platform, it is more about reality more than positions. So for those who believe in positions, they are free to move because, as I said, as agitators of human rights, we can't curtail people in a house where they do not want to eat and dine.
The separation or the conflict of interest between party ideology and ground, meaning what your interests are as a party, may not necessarily be the same much as what the ground wants or who the candidates the ground wants. How are you going to mitigate that in terms of realigning to ensure that those the ground people want are sort of the same that can push your party ideology forward?
That's the 60%. The people on ground have a higher advantage than the vetting process. However, we believe that a person who is appreciated on the ground must be appreciated for understanding the core values of the party, must be appreciated for the reasons that we stand for, because still decisions are made by members of the party. The marks are added up. So if you get your 60 and you get a 0, and then the other one gets a 30, and gets a 45, then it means that the person who has an average of both has beaten that one who has the ground. It is important for the leaders to know the party that they are going to represent, Because if they are not indoctrinated enough of the ideology and existentiality of the party they are going to represent, then that is where we found challenges, some of them running to where they were not supposed to run, some of them behaving haywire. So this time round, we are hands-on deck to see that we get the most appropriate but deserving leaders.
Interesting that you mentioned that. Let's speak about some of your aspirants that might feel they are sidelined. Particularly, let's look at the MPship for Kampala, for example, for the woman member of parliament. When you look at that position, or at least the sentiments that have come between you as a party calling in various factions to, take them through a consensus, and yet some of them feel they were not called in that meeting, raising suspicion on perhaps the party having sides to who they perhaps choose. What's your comment on that?
It is a little vague the way it has been presented, because I don't know exactly, but you talked about Kampala, and I want to assume this is what you're saying, that there was calling of 2 candidates and one other candidate was not called in.
You seem to know the question, actually.
Because
yes.
I am the deputy
Please.
spokesperson of the National Unity
Go
Platform,
ahead.
without a
We
doubt.
clearly got my question.
What happened is that we have had animosity within the party between 2 camps. And the other camp is actually running its campaign without a challenge. But these 2 camps were going for each other's neck. We did say that in this internal process, we want the fight to be gloved. We don't want it to be open knuckle. And we saw that these 2 sisters of ours had gone open knuckle. And what we did as a party is to call these sisters of ours and told them, guys, look, you're the same family. You don't need to fight out there the way you're fighting. It is nasty. It is ugly. We don't want to see it. This is a political party. It is bigger than all of you. If you don't behave, all of you will leave. We'll leave the party with no choice but to disqualify all of you. We were looking at indiscipline of the campaign. We were not making decisions of who is taking the day. And I think the other candidate was wrongly advised. But later on, I saw she came out with an understanding that it did not concern her. She's running her campaign so well that there is no reason for the party to call her off the campaign trail to come and handle issues. The issues that were being handled amongst these 2 leaders who were seemingly getting personal to who gets the ticket, and they were reined in. And as you see these days, it has changed, and they are all working as sisters. But finally, the party will decide who has the card.
Let's speak about WISO as we end. If you do not get the ticket, what's next for you?
If Alex Waiswa Mfumbiro does not get the party ticket, I am here as the National Deputy Spokesperson. The reasons as to why I'm in this struggle is to facilitate day and night the total overthrow and overhaul of the dictatorship of General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and his cohorts. So for me, that is my main mission. It is eyes on removing the dictatorship and this archaic existentiality of the long overdue fatigued NRM. So if I didn't get the party ticket, I am sure that I will go behind that person who has the party ticket and we move forward. That is the National Unity Platform, and that is the spirit. We are only in these places to serve the interest of Ugandans. So if Ugandans ask you to wait, then you will definitely have to wait. But I want to assure you that I am working day and night to come back here with that flag of the National Unity Platform, without a doubt.
All right, may the best candidates win. And I love that you also did institute a bit of research in there on finding out which candidate is most favored and who will be taking you forward in the next general election. Thank you very much. We've been speaking to Alex Waiswa Mfumbiro, who is the deputy spokesperson of the National Unity Platform. Now, we're taking a short break. When we do return, we'll be speaking about the fractures that are happening in the different political parties, including the national resistance movement over the intra-party organizations and events that have been taking place. Well, knowing that we're going for the 5th election after the return of multi-party dispensation. Is it a facade, or is it something that we need to think critically about? Let's get back shortly after this.
The journey to Uganda's future begins here. A season where voices rise, choices are made, and history is written. Through every campaign, every manifesto, and every vote, we stand with you. We renew our promise and commitment to tell your story with truth, fairness, and balance. To be live, balanced, always. From the campaign trail to the corridors of power, from the streets to the screens in your homes, wherever the story is,